There is nothing more interesting than this career opportunity. There is nowhere you will learn as much as you will learn as an entrepreneur. There is nowhere you will feel more empowered than in this. But you should be prepared to fail, fall, and get up and try again.
In today's conversation, I am sitting with Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala at IIT Madras.
We don't focus on what incubator's task is. We think distribution of money is our task.
Maybe it's time to incubate the incubators.
Today, you see a very large number of youngsters wanting to move towards startup. So the real good ones, they fail, they learn to get up and restart.
Now, if we think that it is important for youth to enterprise later, what all interventions at the university level, college level should we take?
And I do want to change IITs and educational institutes in the country.
Can a student build a startup who has zero capital?
If you have guts in you, you know how to get up after failure. If you're not limited by immediate obligation, go for it.
Taking the product to market, as you said, requires not only the knowledge of building the technology, the product, but also P&L, balance sheet, sales funnel. What determines their success from there on?
Successful enterprise is about making money. So if you don't make money, you're failed. How will society grow without the wealth? Somewhere this wrong notion came in India that Saraswati-Lakshmi does not get along. It will be a matter of time before you really realize that Lakshmi and Saraswati does work together. Even if this startup does not succeed, they are very valuable people in the market. जब किसी चीज को शिद्दत से चाहो, तो सारी कायनात तुमको उससे मिलाने की साजिश में लग जाती है.
Hello and welcome everyone. In today's conversation, I am sitting with Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala at IIT Madras. He needs no introduction, of course. He's pioneered several research initiatives. He has been at the forefront of the telecom and network breakthroughs early on. He has an ongoing research on the battery space, EV space currently going on, deep tech incubation ecosystem at IIT Madras, the IIT Madras Research Park, and early on the industry academia interface engagement was initiated by Professor Jhunjhunwala. And today we are having a conversation with him, trying to understand students' mindset, trying to understand what is entrepreneurship, trying to understand whether entrepreneurship is for students, when are students ready for entrepreneurship, and of course, Professor Ashok has worked very closely with several students of his in research, leading them to enterprises. And we will today try to understand from his viewpoint how he sees students as potential entrepreneurs and how he has nurtured several of them and the ecosystem in last several years. Sir, welcome to this conversation.
Thank you.
Sir, the first question that I have is, how do you see students? Do you see students as entrepreneurs, potential entrepreneurs? Is this the right question
First
for
of all,
them?
are we talking about Indian students or are we talking about students somewhere else?
Indian, sir.
So if you're talking about Indian students, and then of which colleges? Are you talking about Indian students of premium colleges like IITs?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you talking about Indian students of colleges of tier 2, tier 3? Everyone is different.
Right.
How can you make a general statement?
Sure, sir. So let us specify. We can talk about different segments within the student ecosystem. We can first talk about students in the leading institutions like IITs, and then we can go to the tier 2, tier 3, the middle class of the students, the larger chunk where the innovation can come from. So one by one we can address both.
The students of premium colleges like IIT or elite colleges, I will call it.
Yes.
Their primary focus at some point of time used to be go abroad. This was so when I was a student in 70s of
Yes.
IIT Kanpur. This was so in 80s, 90s, and even I will say at the turn of century. It is somewhere as India started doing well, percentage of students wanting to go abroad reduced, and their mindset became jobs and management degree.
Mhm.
Many of them wanted to go to IIMs, a premium, and then get a management job, mostly not engineering jobs. And there are others who started going to Indian industry. I'll say very, very few, if I look at the decades of 80s, 90s, or even in the 2000s, really looked at entrepreneurship. That does not mean that these students never become entrepreneurs. They do. Not as students, much later, after they have worked somewhere, many of them look towards entrepreneurship. In fact, in US, many of our students have gone towards entrepreneurship. Even in India, it was happening to a little lesser extent. This was the situation till around, I'll say 2010 or so. From 2010 onwards, a small section, a very small section, tiny section, I will say, are starting to look at startups. They want to be either a part of a startup or lead a startup. And this, probably the best students start looking at in that direction. Still, number of students going abroad has significantly reduced, at least right after graduation. Later on, many of them may go. Number of students going towards management still continues to be reasonable, not very large. And then the rest, jobs. That's what is happening to the elite institutions, engineering institutes within India.
Right, sir. So, shall we also talk about the tier 2 and tier 3 institutions? Would you have some perspective on that?
Tier 2, Tier 3 institutes, what has happened as the number of students from IIT going abroad reduced, the focus went to Tier 2 institutes. Many of them would like to go abroad. So number of students going abroad in Tier 2 has been increasing, while in IITs it has been going down. Number of students who want to become an entrepreneurs is again something that's happening probably 5 years following IITs. So if you see around 2008, 9, 10 onwards, the students in IIT started looking at startup as a career option. You are starting to see some of them, very few, small, tiny percentage from Tier 2 starting to look at that. Tier 3 is primarily looking for jobs. Then there is a lot of other things, factors. For example, what's your family situation?
Right.
If the family situation is financially tight, again, taking up a job will be a very important thing.
Okay.
If you are very well off, it doesn't matter which college you go. You may even become entrepreneurs, but really not an innovator. Your interest is more in business rather than startup, particularly not much in deep tech startup. So there is a small section in all of these people who look at, in IITs has happened, in Tier 2, Tier 3 also it has happened. The point is, whereas IITs, you have very small number of students. The total number of students graduating from all IIT will be probably 15,000.
Yeah.
The engineering students, whereas if you take from the rest of the colleges, 1 million. So even if a smaller percentage there means a lot, numbers are very large.
Yeah.
And so there today you see a very large number of youngsters, very large number of youngsters in India wanting to move towards startup, be something creative. There are many, many all over the country, from smallest college to large college, whose interest is to do startups and be something creative.
Yes.
Again, you find that most of them are from middle class.
Right.
Not very well off, because as I told you that they would move towards business and trading or management rather than becoming creative and innovative.
Right.
Not lower middle class, because they will be financially not in strong position to take off for a few years.
Right.
It is those who are
There's a
who are
sweet
not
spot.
financially constrained. At least for a few years they can take off.
Right.
They are the one who are, and a section of them are looking at startups.
Right. So, so there's several branches of this, based on what you said. I'll start with this. There is a small percentage of students who are turning towards entrepreneurship, and there are large numbers if you look at absolute number in the especially tier 2, tier 3 colleges.
See that first important point to recognize that where does this interest and where does the skills for the startup comes?
Right, sir.
I have found that some of these colleges have things like build clubs, robotics clubs, or all kinds of clubs in different names.
Right.
Basically, these are the places where these are student-run clubs. They are not faculty-run club. They have nothing to do with curriculum. The students get together in the evenings, weekend, probably the whole night, and try to build things.
Right.
Wherever they are building things, their interest in startup grows.
Okay.
And these build clubs are mixed gender clubs, clubs which are, as I pointed out, not supervised by faculty, not a part of curriculum, where students spend huge amount of time working together, learning, playing, and enjoying.
Playing.
All these things go on simultaneously. It is, in some manner, I kind of sort of see this phenomena like a Lego being given to a child. You tell a child to study, the child may not, probably will not like to spend much time. However much the parents kind of coax them. You give them a Lego tool, they start playing. You actually, several of them come together, even mix their tools and start playing. It is that which gives you a playing, enjoying, learning simultaneously. I see the same thing in Indian institutes.
Okay.
Otherwise, the students get absolutely no experience of building things. And if you don't know how to build things, you cannot go towards deep tech startups.
Okay.
So that's a step number one. Simultaneously, I find that many of these colleges in India today are starting to push for talks by entrepreneurs, the ones who have succeeded, by various hackathons and other events. All of them create an interest in startups.
Inspiration for them.
Startups. The problem is that none of these finally result into successful startups.
Okay.
That while this is by itself, they do not result into successful startup. They are very good. They are the one who will prepare the ground, but they are not the ones which will result. The winners of hackathon rarely become successful startups.
That short-term interest that they develop but does not sustain.
In fact, so what is required is something very different. Since many of them come to me, I can describe what happens.
Yes, sir.
So many of them come with starry eyes, essentially things that startup is something where they can make huge amount of money. They have heard all this story, and they get attracted. They come with or without ideas. If you really want to nurture startups, this next step is what I call pushback.
Okay.
And the fact that you participated earlier in hackathons and got prizes and all those things matter very little. You need to push back. Why do you need to push back? Because they have a false notion that startups are easy and will help them make
Money.
So your job is to do pushback. You start by first trying to find out their family situation.
Okay.
You actually find out what is their background, family background, whether the youngsters have obligation towards family immediately after graduation, whether the family is looking for the incomes that the youngster will bring after they graduate. If there is obligation and there is a dependence, then startup is the last thing that you should think of.
Okay.
You better go and fulfill that, because startup, for first few years, the startup which succeeds, first few years you make zero money.
Right.
Zero money. I have a strong belief that easy money hurts. And any attempt to sort of get them to get money actually hurts.
And yet, sir, today, the first question that a student asks is, sir, I don't have money. Where will I get the money to start?
So I think these are all. So you have to do pushback. You have to actually say you are not ready for startup. You go away.
Okay.
So you start by asking their family background, their requirement. Then, the next thing, that the question that I would ask, tell me about your failures in life.
Okay.
How many times have you failed? What did you do after failures?
Mm-hmm.
How many times have you fallen? How did you get up? The reason is that no startup ever succeeds without failure.
Without failure.
And you want to know whether this youngster really knows to get up after failure, can handle failure. And most do not. And if that is so, they are highly unlikely to be successful. Then you start looking at, and you try to impress upon them. I basically ask them, why are you trying to do startup? Go and take up a job. It's much easier. Do you realize that in startup, you will have to work for 16 hours a day, 6.5 days a week, or probably more? And with no money, no returns, and very high chances of failures. If you take up a job, the amount of hours that you need to spend is less, and you get some money, you don't have risk. Actually, startup is very high risk venture.
Right.
High risk career option. Only few can do this. And you need to do pushback. And the ones who are really determined to do startup, and you have to push hard, they will resist the pushback. They will go back and come back to you. So those who go back and come back to you, probably again push back and again come back to, they are the ones where chances of success is high.
Okay.
And I believe that easy money hurts. You have to get them to starve. That's the philosophy. Let them live in a very, very minimal. Somehow manage. You then start asking them, okay, actually product ideas matter very little. That's another false notion.
The ideas don't matter.
At this stage matters very little.
Okay.
At this stage. Because mostly the ideas that you will come up with is not going to be successful.
So what matters at the stage of students?
You're the person. Do you know how to fail, get up after failure? Do you know how to work 16 hours a day? Do you know how to put together a team? Very important. And put together a team without money. That means you have to inspire others to somehow, with very pittance, to work with you.
Yeah.
Then whole lot of other things. Do you understand what does it take to make a product, build a product? Do you know why will your product work 24/7? How will you manufacture the product? Do you understand market? Why will market accept your product? Why do you think you will be able to get a certain price for the product?
Mm-hmm.
What is the bill of material for the product? What is the cost of production? What price will you be able to sell it? And why will market be ready to pay you for the price? What does it take? Do you understand things like balance sheet, P&L? Do you understand what is cash flow? And all these things a youngster will not understand.
Yeah, at the age of 18, how do we expect them
Not
to...
18. We are talking about 22. We are not talking about 18.
Sure.
We are talking about the ones who come after graduation. We actually rarely do this while they are students.
Okay.
We say, pass that stage.
Okay.
Come back. Because at 18, 19, 20, you do build clubs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because at that time when you are coming, you are only trying to put few more things in your CV.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And then maybe apply abroad.
Right.
But if you persist and come back after your graduation, then you start taking them seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So not at 18,
I see.
at 21, 22.
Okay.
And I think the biggest mistake that we do, that we start thinking that 18, 19. No, you help them with Build Club. Help them with all those things
Mm-hmm.
at that age. Get them some training. What does it take to work together? How to build? All those things can be done. But real that pushback starts at 21, 22.
Okay.
And that's where you try to impress upon them. As I told you, what is a balance sheet? What is a cash flow? What is a P&L? What is a margin?
Mm-hmm.
What is depreciation? What is interest rate?
Right.
How do you put a team together? What does it testing means? How do you validate your product? Every single thing needs to be learned and taught.
Sir, so a question here. Now, you're saying after you've graduated, then you come back, then pushback starts. The real process starts then.
Yeah.
As a student, today, they are coming up to you and they're saying, I want to start up.
Fine, do Build Club, do things, do whatever you want. Don't come back to us when you are graduated.
Okay.
It's a big mistake of trying to encourage them beyond a certain point. Encourage them. Yes, think of startup. Come back to me when you graduate. Don't do anything more than that. See whether they come back. 90% will drop out there itself.
So failures have to come to them. If
Failures will happen. Frankly speaking, as a student, you don't fail.
Mm-hmm.
Because you are supported, family is supporting you, you are doing, it really doesn't matter. So it should be a career option. Startup should be a career option, not a part-time stuff.
Okay.
You come back when you are graduated. Now you start evaluating. Now you do the pushback. Now you ask the tough questions. And if they come back to you, at that time you start nurturing them. And nurturing them, first you try to push back by saying that it's such a tough work and you are likely to fail and all that. They come back to you. That's the time you start giving them one by one all the different training. Mm-hmm. That's the time you help them build their products. That's the time you get them to start facing the market. Mm-hmm. That's the time you let them fail, fall, get up and start again.
Okay. Can I ask you some questions now?
Please do.
So, first of all, we discussed earlier that the percentage is small. Are we concerned about small percentage?
Not at all. India has a large number of youngsters. Enough people are there.
Okay.
If we can really create good deep tech startup, suppose you create 1,000 startups, good deep tech startup, which are likely to be successful. It's a great thing. If you can do 5,000, it's even greater thing. In a million, what is the number that you're talking about? I don't think small numbers in India does not matter.
Yeah.
Don't try to overdo. Do be hard. Again, I'm repeating, easy money hurts. Don't give them money to begin with.
Okay.
Give them all the facilities. Give them space. Help them with registering a company after you have admitted them after pushback and all that. Help them with, okay, you need accounting support, I'll help you with that. Legal support, I'll help you with that. You need mentorship, I'll help you with that. I will help you in your designs. I'll help you with all the trainings. I won't charge you any of the things. Maybe I'll take a small percentage of your startup.
Yeah.
And I will also give you seed money. But seed money I'll give you in very small bits and slowly. Seeing a success, seeing how you are working.
Yeah. So
otherwise,
they need money for working capital, for material. So small seed grants.
money. No. Don't try to satisfy their need. Let them be hungry. Let them figure out how to manage with minimum. You do provide them in small bits. Always starve them.
So today, incubation centers have become funding agencies in a way. We have so many funding schemes.
That's a reason how many have succeeded. There are probably 3,000-4,000 incubation centers. Are there even 3,000 good startups in the country? Good? Likely to be successful? They all claim. You go to an incubation center, they say, I have 90, I have 200 startups. You start examining, you can't even find 2. They have taken money, burned the money and fizzle out.
We have resources. Government is spending resources. Why should we not give them access?
You give them in small bits and pieces.
Okay.
Your objective is not to do what government is trying to. Your objective is to make them successful.
Right.
Do what is right to make them successful. You have to. So we go one step further. We actually, even after we take them, and as I told you all this, we then start monitoring them.
Yeah.
We sort of say, first, form a board. At least bring one independent person, not your relative. And founders can be on the board. We'll put a mentor who will be invited to the board, and we'll also put an incubating person sitting on your board. Or not sitting on a board, but it is invited. You need to have a monthly meeting. Second Tuesday, 2 p.m. every month.
Okay.
Have a meeting. Does not matter. Can be 1 hour meeting. We even define what is needed to be done in the meeting. We say your slide number 1 should be what went well, what did not go well, what went so-so. So summarize that.
You have to give them
slide number 1 of your presentation in every meeting. Slide number 2, you put the minutes of the last meeting and action taken. What did you do? Slide number 3, straight away present P&L, balance sheet, cash flow, receivable, payable. You will say, I have practically no money. Doesn't matter. Put them down. It is a learning that is important.
Yeah, they're building
discipline, learning. You start thinking in those directions.
There are no numbers. There are no numbers in the statements, but they are coming.
Say there are no numbers. It's always. But you have put 1,000 rupees. You have put 10,000 rupees. Start with that.
Okay.
Balance sheet, monthly balance sheet, monthly cash flow, monthly P&L, receivable, payable. They need to understand these things. Slide number 4, straight away, sales funnel. What is likelihood of each sale? What are the hot sales possible? What did you put last month's sales funnel? Is some of them materialize? Or were your estimate wrong? If your estimate was wrong last month, why will it be right this time? It's a learning exercise. You need to teach them. Slide number 5, you get into product design. What stage it is in. The whole validation. How do you, next slide, will you manufacture? Bill of materials. What will it be cost? What is likely to be the sales price? Next slide on market. What do you understand of the market? Why do you think that this product will sell at this price? Next slide, your human resources. What are the people? How are you paying them? How are they working together? What is each person doing? Next slide, governance. What are you ensuring? Are you filing the right thing? Are you doing everything? Teach them each and everything. This is a learning process. These are 21, 22 years old. And in India, unlike in the West, where even at 21 or 22, you may already have reasonable amount of work experience because you start working part-time while you are a student at even school. Not in India. Particularly the middle class, upper middle class, the students that you see have zero experience. Let them learn all of this. You need to have this monthly meeting. You need to nurture them. And over time, they sort of start figuring out.
So students in the West, they work part-time. They have that experience by 22.
For them, the process may be very different. So I don't even want to comment on that. I don't understand that process. I am talking about the one in India.
So shall we also think in the direction of
I don't think that I think let's focus on startup and entrepreneurship, what we can do. Let's not try to fix things from birth to death. Just focus on this. Nah? If you are an incubator, focus on this. Do your task. You do your task right and well. Why are you looking at what is not even your task? That's a big mistake that we make. We don't focus on what incubator's task is. We think distribution of money is our task. And then false claim. Most incubators are falsely claiming. In fact, they are under pressure because they have got money from the government to make tall claims. You need to be truthful because finally, whether a company succeeds or not, shows up.
Okay, sir.
And let me tell you, everyone, I've seen the top institute administration, director, incubator in charge, everybody is being pushed to not be truthful and throw money thinking something will grow. Well, occasionally somebody will make them, but rarely. That is not nurturing. We can nurture, create good startups by really providing all the support. We need to have mentors from day one for each person. We need to find technical mentor they require. Help them in every possible manner. Since you're asking me, one of our most successful startup was a company called Unifor. The founder were two people, Umesh and Ravi. They actually had gone to college in Delhi, in JP Institute.
Okay.
They were students and they had expressed a desire to become entrepreneurs to their teachers. And one of their teachers said that if you are serious about entrepreneurship, connect with Professor Jhunjhunwala at IIT Madras. They wrote to me. They said they want to come and meet me. I said, well, you can come. I will spend an hour with you, but that's not going to help you. I'll suggest something else. Whenever I come to Delhi, hop in the car with me. Okay. And as I go from one meeting to another, there will be gaps and I'll be driving for half an hour, 40 minutes. Meet me. That's how they started meeting me, talking to me, met 2-3 times. They started they graduated and they got very, very good jobs. That's the time they told me, sir, what do we do? I said, what do you want to? I said, no, our mind is on startup. And they throw the job away. Then what do? You come and join me here. I'll give you living salaries, which very minimal, even less than what a student spends. Live there and I'll teach you. So they were here. They came, they started. The company fortunately took long time. 6, 7 years later, 8 years later, they were highly successful. They raised $2.5 million, $500 million at $2.5 billion valuation. And they raised this money in US and New York Stock Exchange congratulating them with a big banner. And Umesh was standing below this banner.
Okay.
And a TV commentator, a famous TV commentator is interviewing him. While interviewing him about Unifor, he asked him that you keep referring to IIT Madras Incubation Cell and Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala once in a while you are talking about your growth. Who are they and what did they do for you that you keep referring to them? Umesh paused for a short time and then said, I will tell you. He said, Professor Jhunjhunwala with a jhola entered a coal mine. And there were a large number of coal stones. He would pick up, examine them, throw most of them back. Few he put it in a jhola and came out. We are lucky to be in a jhola.
Okay.
Then the kind of fellow he is, he came out and started cutting them. Extremely painful. Most of us crumble. Those who crumble goes back to the mine. We were lucky to have survived that. But Professor Jhunjhunwala does not give up then. He takes the ones which have survived and starts polishing them with a file. Cutting is very painful, but it's a one stroke, 2 strokes. This is continuous pain. Again, most of us crumble. We cry and we go back to the coal mine. Those who survive become diamond. And that's how I am standing here in front of you and talking.
Yeah.
I heard this interview and I reflected upon it. He was not very nice to me in telling that I've done all of that. And I realized, I know that I have done all of that. All of that was true. And the nurturing of startups is exactly this process in India. I don't know outside India. It is extremely painful. But all that he couldn't convey was not just painful to that stone. It is equally or probably more painful to the person who does
it. Yeah. I was thinking about that. How do you feel?
But then that's what has to be done. And if you do that, successful startups emerge. And here at IITM Incubation Cell, you see one after another, the number of startups that have succeeded. And succeeded very big. And I'm talking about people who came at 22, 23, 24. Pretty much the process is what he described. Informal meetings for hours at my home. My wife will give them some food. And then they will get most sessions were fairly rough sessions. Most of these youngsters come from a little bit, their parents kind of go out of way to take care of them. And somewhat, they have not seen hard times of the life. And the startup is about hard times.
Yeah.
So you need to go through that process. And I can say from my experience that almost every startup, I mean, if they want to curse me, they will curse me. It has been like that. But this is the way the whole incubators has to be. It has to be very, very, they are like our children. They have to be very, very, you have to give them a lot of love. But at the same time, your job is to really make them men in a few years.
Okay. Can I ask more questions?
Ask me as many questions.
Why I'm zooming out of the detailed picture on the ground picture that we are seeing. Why is it important for youth to start up? For a country, why is it important for youth to start up?
India imports most of the technology. And we just assemble with limited value addition and sell. Now, it's a very large country. And with such a large country, with large number of goods, technology imported, goods components imported, putting together, made in India, therefore, has a relatively small value addition. That's not going to take India forward.
Mm-hmm.
We need to learn to develop our own technology. And startups is one wing which can do such technology.
So why not experienced people? Why
well, I think it's a mixture of... So these startups also have these technical mentors, which are experienced people. So I have always believed that you want to take up big problems, you get a bunch of researchers from not multidisciplinary, not from one institute, multiple institutes, and also these youngsters, startup, you put them together and nurture them. Today, after handing over IIT Madras Research Park and incubation cell charge about a year and a half back, we have formed another Section 8 company called Immersive Technology and Entrepreneurship Labs, ITEL. We are precisely doing that. What we are doing is creating consortium of researchers around the country from different institutes. Put them along with the startups and take up very, very challenging problems of India. Problems which are otherwise considered unsolvable.
Okay.
And it is the startups and the researchers together which can come up with solution. And then take it all the way to commercialization. We also bring in the industry. That's what we are trying to do. And that is what is needed to be done.
So when the students come to you, do they bring the problem statement, or because out of your research group?
When students come to me, I will interact with them. I'll listen to them, give them advice, tell them to come back once they graduate.
They have graduated. Now they come to you.
No, once they graduate, they are no longer students. So don't say students.
Okay. So when
once
youngsters...
they have graduated and they come to me, my job is push back first.
Yeah.
Push back. And when they come back repeatedly, when I see them serious, then do everything to nurture them. You own them. You owe them, you own them. You owe them all the hard work you have to put. They have to put all the hard work to try to become successful. Then your objective is to make them successful. Once you have adopted them, once they are your children, once they are your incubating, do everything to make them successful.
So the problem, the idea that they work on, they
changes multiple times.
Yes.
It evolves. Very few start with idea and continues and ends up with idea. Even if it is same area, it keeps changing and evolving. When they start, they don't fully understand.
So you mentioned business and startup, trading versus startup. Can we, have some definition?
Finally, all startups, all enterprise is about, successful enterprise is about making money.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't make money, you're failed.
Okay.
So finally, they have to make money. So they have to learn what does it take to make money. But what I mentioned is that deep tech startups you can do. You can do startups which are not deep tech, which are pure. You can do a app-based startup or basically driving business, trading, buying, selling. You can do all kinds of things. Logistics. You can do all services business. So all those are also businesses, which are their objective is also to make money. That's good, but That's not what we as engineers, as engineering institutions, want to really push deep tech startup, which can enable India to become technology savvy, develop technology in India, and eventually become technology leader.
Okay. So there are several stages when you start with the technology, especially in deep tech, from an idea to a proof of concept, even before that, a imagined solution, a drawing to a paper prototype, cardboard prototype, and eventually reaches a stage which we call MVP, and then final
It
product.
continuously evolve. Things don't remain same. You start with one idea, one kind of product. Later on, it becomes something else. Later on, again, it becomes something else. But finally, when you hit the market, it's be totally different.
But do you have a framework in your mind? Like, earlier you had slides, 10 slides, and first slide this.
I think the one that I have, has everything in it. Because it helps you sort of say, okay, what is the sales funnel? What is the market? What is the product stage development? What is the validation of the product? What is the bill of material of the product? What is the price expected? As you go through that, you sort of say, well, this is not working. Then you and that's a setback. That's a failure. That's the time you think through and evolve and come with some new ideas. A modified version of the earlier product or maybe a totally new product. And they have to go through it multiple times before they succeed.
But for a product development, do you have stages in mind? First do this, then do this, a POC, a prototype, a product?
I think basically, as I told you, objective is to sell it in the market.
Right.
So you have to understand market, what market needs, what price they are willing to provide, what is the quality expectation. You must meet the quality and price expectation of the market.
Yeah.
If you fail to meet them, you can never be successful. So you understand that and then try to drive and make the product. Can you really make a product which with that price will help you make money? That's a key question.
Okay. When do you start acknowledging them as a startup? During the pushback time? During the product
after
time?
we have incubated them, we push back. That means we're not incubated. They come back. You incubate. You start owning them.
Then you start calling them a startup.
Then they are a startup. You own them. So you are incubating. I'll call it a incubating. Okay. I don't know what you mean by. We call them incubating. Then they are our children. We have to help them grow.
No, I meant more from the viewpoint of where am I in my business? Is it only idea? Do I have product? Do I have sales? When am I really a startup? The startup word is used very loosely. So I thought maybe there is a definition, that a line that we draw at some point in time saying, now you are a startup.
I don't know. I mean,
maybe a tier.
If you have incubated and you are working full time on it, you have already a team. You are a startup trying to, whether successful or not, that's what you are.
Okay. You have committed seriously some time to it, some resources to it.
All your life, 16 hours a day,
right.
6.5 days a week. One of the questions that once a startup founder came to me one evening and asked me, sir, the structure that you are building seemed to be a problem. I said, why? What's the problem? I said, your incubators, you have employed these people, the incubator managers, the CEO of the incubators. Sir, I am surviving at 7,000 rupees per month. This is about in 2010 or so. They get 50,000 rupees per month. I work 16 hours a day, 6.5 days a week, closer to 100 hours.
Yeah.
They work 40 hours. And they are supposed to nurture me. Do you not see a contradiction? And I did see that. I went back to my incubator. I sort of say that we really will never succeed unless they can identify with us and we can identify with them. And we have to pair it in a different manner. We have to decide, You can't have and 50K is a low salary. Remember that. Today it will be much, much higher. So you need to also go on variable salary. We need to do a belt tight. We will have to, we must have empathy towards them, and they must have a strong connect with us. Then only we can nurture.
They keep asking, why don't you become an entrepreneur? You teach us entrepreneurship. Why are you not entrepreneur?
First of all, who are they to teach entrepreneurship? Do they really understand? Have they themselves become a startup, or have they become an entrepreneur themselves? So in fact, our research park and our incubator was started like a startup. Some seed money, beyond that on its own. I was very clear, if it fails, fine, we'll fold it up. We will not just drag it by taking some grants from here. That's a wrong notion. Today, you don't believe that. You believe that you can take grants from here, give grants to others. That's what you're used to.
But running it like an entrepreneur means you have to commit beyond all the time that you have.
You have to commit.
So how do you do your research, your teaching and everything?
This is a part of your research. You somehow combine. That's what the work that you have to do.
But going out, raising bank loan or talking to industry.
All is the part of a startup activity. You do that. There's no easy way out.
So what are some problems that youngsters should look at solving through startups today?
Well, they can take any problem.
Some problems that are close to your heart.
No, I won't. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the consortiums that we are talking about has to take big problems of India, which do not have a solution, which are impossible. The consortiums are not individual startups. Consortiums have to work on impossible problems of India and attempt to solve them. I'll give you an example. Today, with rainfall becoming erratic, city after city gets flooded in no time.
Right.
Waterlogging. A consortium that we have is that we will eliminate urban waterlogging. Rainfall is going to be erratic. We can't control that.
Yeah.
But we will ensure that no water logging takes place. Water will flow out. That's a big challenge. Put together a consortium, group of researchers, scientists, and startups to solve. It requires all kinds of things. From mapping every meter of the city into their slopes, figuring out where the slopes are and valleys are. If a rainfall of 6 inches in 2 hours take place, how much water will fall? It will, therefore, how much waterlogging will take place if no water flows out? What are the drains? Mapping of the drains. Are the drain congested? Figuring out, sending objects within the drain to see if the drains are congested. Figuring out, clean the drains if they are congested. And then doing the simulation of, in spite of all of the drains being cleaned, if so much rain falls, then this is the amount of waterlogging will take place. Once you recognize that, figure out how much water can be absorbed by the ground. What kind of things that you can make which can enhance the absorption. And then on top of it, what are the new drains that you can actually put in, which will clear the big problem of India. There are any number of big problems of India. Our cities are highly polluted.
Yeah.
So what can you do? So I'm not saying all deep tech startups will be only like this, but if you take up big problems, you will get plenty of startups. Market is going to be there then.
So, sir, after the pushback, you've taken a startup under your wing, an incubator. Now, out of those, again, everyone does not succeed. Now, what happens beyond that? What determines their success from there on?
No. So, first, let me tell you, if the process is right
Mhm.
that I'm talking about, remember the way Umesh described them, first
Yeah.
cutting and then polishing,
Mm.
continuous pain. If that process is right and they are evolving out of it,
Mhm.
the youngsters who come out of that become highly talented
Okay.
and huge experience. Even if the startup does not succeed, they are very valuable people in the market.
Okay.
Let me tell you, in no time they can make up for all the salaries that they didn't earn.
What do they do? Some entrepreneurs who did not, the startup
They may
didn't work
become a
out.
manager somewhere.
Okay.
They have not succeeded in something, but but very often they will tend to come out and again start.
Against that.
So the real good ones, they fail, they learn to get up and restart.
Hmm. And sir, at this stage, they have little credibility. They're just fresh out of college. They're starting up. How do they build credibility? Going to a customer, talking to them, convincing them for a sale.
Well, it's a very tough task, and that's a challenge.
How do
That's a challenge. You don't have money,
Yeah.
you have limited number of people,
Hmm.
and yet you are building a product which a customer will like. And after that, selling it to the customer, getting the customer to accept it, pay for it, all are challenges.
Yeah.
It is one of the toughest tasks that a youngster can take up. It's not for a weak-hearted. If you cannot take up this kind of tough task, go take up a job.
So taking the product to market, building a real venture
You know
requires
what
so
the
many
thing they
skills.
say that you are highly, highly likely to fail. Must be prepared for that. Only those who understand that can take it. Sorry, you're asking a question.
Um, yeah, I was saying taking the product to market, as you said, requires not only the knowledge of building the technology, the product, but also P&L, balance sheet, sales funnel, and so many
No,
things.
that's to manage your company.
Hmm.
Taking to the market, you must understand the market.
Right.
Why will a customer, you must understand a customer. Why will customer buy a product?
Mhm.
What is customer's expectation? What is the price that the customer will be willing to pay?
So all of this, do you teach them through structured sessions or one-to-one sessions?
Structured session or any one-to-one session is only a trigger.
Yeah.
After that, they learn by experience.
Okay. So that only gives them a starting point and then they have to figure it out on their own after that.
Very often the learning also takes place when they start going to the market, start not able to do things,
Mhm.
and then they come to a session where somebody is teaching them. They understand it much more and they get value out of it.
So you
In the
said,
beginning, it appears to be all theory. Another set of theory classes
yeah.
where somebody is telling me go and take surveys and all. Meaningless.
Should we be teaching entrepreneurship then?
Um,
We're
you are
teaching
teaching
engineering.
management.
We're teaching
You are
engineering management.
I don't know what. I don't think that entrepreneurship can be taught in this manner. Entrepreneurship is learned by actually doing. At that time, you can provide bits and pieces of all the little course material or training. But otherwise,
So
if you say full-time entrepreneurship program has, I'll say, relatively less value. Well, it is not. It is reasonably valuable if people with experience come.
Okay.
Then they have already seen all their failures and all the limited success and big success. They can relate to what is being taught. But for a youngster, it's like another class.
Yeah.
Could have been Mathematics 204 or entrepreneurship. All lectures, you will sleep in the class.
So it has to
At
be.
most, your objective is to pass the exam, fairly or unfairly.
So it has to be learning by doing, and that's what happens in engineering courses as well. There's several courses, practicum based, where you.
Sorry, I don't think that engineering courses you learn by doing. Engineering courses are all theory courses in India today.
Okay.
All of them you learn, you solve problem. At most, you learn analytics. You may learn some programming, and then go and write your exam.
Okay. So what interventions, I'm saying so we orient students to science, to arts, to commerce, to whatever fields in the colleges, right? Pretty much education is theoretical. We are preparing them for whatever work profession they'll pick up later. Now, if we think that it is important for youth to enterprise later, what all interventions at the university level, college level should we take? You did say play, learn, and enjoy that.
So the Build Club thing that I talked about, or whatever name you call, is a very, very. But I know I had these hackathons, etc. Though they have all limited value in the final success, but they all play. Don't create that. That's what has to be done at the university level. Or these guest lectures or competitions. Those are all good. As long as you recognize that they are enabler, they are not they play a relatively less role in success of an enterprise.
So this success word, how should
Financial
a startup define it?
success.
Only financial success?
Only financial success. Finally, enterprise either succeeds or fails. Very simple.
So
it doesn't matter. Even if it's a social startup, it may be doing some good, but it has to financially succeed. If it financially succeeds, it will multiply and reach all over. If not, it remains small.
Sometimes while chasing money, entrepreneurs may make mistakes. They may follow wrong paths.
I don't know what it means. Finally, success is that you are able to generate money, and therefore you are able to expand your market and come up with new products. Finally, that's what success is. I don't understand in enterprise any other success. You may also do some social good. That's highly desirable. But if social good is the objective, do NGO.
Is there a difference between success of the venture and success of the entrepreneur as a person? Companies make profit.
If your enterprise does not succeed, you have not succeeded. It doesn't mean that you will not succeed in the rest of your life. That experience may be valuable, very valuable. But finally, your enterprise has to succeed and has to financially succeed. It has to scale up. Otherwise, it will remain very small. You open a tea shop, you may be surviving. You may be doing well, all right. Earn enough for your home and all that. That's not the deep tech startup that we are talking. It may give you a livelihood. It doesn't multiply. This deep tech startup, by the very name, it's a kind of expands. It multiplies. That's what is needed.
So do we need, of course, incubation centers are the places where we are doing this, but do we need specialized institutions where we prep students?
I don't think so. I don't think. It requires your incubator to have the right management. That's the most important thing. They must know what is the right thing to do.
What is the right thing to do?
I explained to you. I explained the whole process of nurturing. That's what they need to do. So from pushback to accepting that to basically making sure all the discipline comes in, doing everything, not provide easy money. I've told you about what all needs to be done.
Yeah. So, what foundational changes do we do? What corrections? Now, how do we make these corrections, sir, at this point in
So,
time?
the corrections can happen first if you are willing to accept the truth and start speaking the truth. If you are going to only create hype,
Yeah.
I don't think that there will be any corrections. If you start saying that, yeah, I'm not doing well, that my incubator has done poorly, you start sort of saying that now, at least now onwards, I'm not going to anymore create hype. I will tell the true picture. Then, if you know that it has limitation, you can learn to overcome that. If you are caught up in a hype and you start believing that you are doing very well, you can't learn anymore.
So, incubating the incubators, there was one initiative where you mentioned that, there need to be many more incubations. I think 1,000 is the number that you mentioned there. Who can imbibe this philosophy? Is that kind of initiative taking place? Maybe it's time to incubate the incubators.
I think the incubators started formally in India around 2004, 5, I remember. Department of Science and Technology started the program. I was involved in the initial one. Some institute like ours, IIT Madras, we had started it earlier, informally, but formally started around 2004, 5. Early stage, there were attempts to go through that. Over time, you just increase the numbers and you start putting in money, a lot of money, I'll say throwing money and creating hype. That is the real state. If you recognize that what you're doing and you want to do something different, you can do that. But until you recognize, what can you do? You have to stop doing what you're doing. If you are a manager of incubator, how many companies have you incubated so far?
500 plus.
Okay, that's a huge.
The definition of
That's
incubation
huge.
is very different.
That's huge. We, in 14 years that I was heading the incubation cell and RTBI, we did not incubate 400, 500. But out of 500, if you take their public value today, value at which they can raise 10 crore rupees, what would be the public value of all these 500 companies?
The definition is very different. Out of 400, there are about 40, 50 which would have an invested value.
Fine, doesn't matter. For those 40, 50, the rest you will have to take zero. For those 40, 50 you add, divided by 400. How much is the value? You take the total value that the incubator has created. How much is that? 100 crores? 200 crores? 500 crores? In fact, that single point matrix will start helping you.
Okay.
We had created till last year 50,000 crores was the value. And still early stage, they're going to grow.
But relaying this idea, of working with the startup and, acknowledging, first of all, what we are doing may not be in the right direction and all the hype. Correction at this stage seems to be quite a challenging task. And sometimes, when we promote startup culture this much, students or youngsters, those who are in the jobs, they may develop more interest and more people. We may start attracting more people to the ecosystem, and hence probably we are trying to create that pool. And again, some of them will make it all the way.
But again, I think there is this whole thing that you what is called spray,
Spray
and something will happen.
yeah.
I think, yes, occasionally something will happen, but you will not create a culture of just, if you want to transform, you need to create a culture, in which case the process has to be followed. There is no shortcuts for that. The spraying will not result into, out of your 500 company, tell me the company which has the highest value. And what is the value?
There were companies which were valued about 20, 30, 40 CR. One company exited at 40 CR.
Crores. So that's pretty much the value that you have created. Total maybe few hundred crores.
Yeah.
Total value. And that's where I will say it's all meaningless. 500 company, not even 500 crore valuation. It has no meaning.
So replicating the ecosystem that you've built here, you need somebody like you to do it, right?
No, I think it is not somebody like me, but somebody who will not hype, somebody who will not tell the untruth, will continuously learn. What I have done can be continuously learned and replicated. But it requires, it's not an easy win. You see, formally I started incubating in 2006.
Okay.
Informally, I was doing from 1992, 93.
Okay.
You won't have heard about us till 2016, 17. Quietly, we are doing that work. It takes time. We never created hype. We never said we created 500. As I'm telling you, from 2007 till 2024, I created only 350 startups. Fortunately, 80% of them have survived. That's the point.
That's very high.
That's the point that will do.
Yeah. So let's talk about people. I've seen, there are two sides to you. One is the place where you push them back and you challenge them really hard. And second is the stage where you become so adorable. And I've seen that, we stepped outside, we met with the incubators, and two of them are here with us now. How do you work with people? And, when you show them the tough side in the beginning, you scare them away. How do you manage to, is that staged?
I don't know whether there is stage, because like your children, you love your children, you are very attached to them, and yet you have to nurture them. You have to bring them up. So you use everything. You use Sam Dam Dand Ved. I'm very clear that you need to do Sam Dam Dand Ved with nurturing anybody. So take, for example, we are in a studio set up by a company called Goovy.
Tell me the story of Goovy, sir.
I remember some 10 years back, probably, I was invited to there was a function that a company called PayPal, and I was the chief guest in their award distribution, internal award distribution function.
Okay.
So they were actually giving awards to their high performers, and I was giving the award. So I remember that I gave award to the best software developer for the last 5 years or something like that. And I remember two youngsters walking in, and I gave them the award. I tried to talk to them for about 20, 30 seconds. And one thing that I noticed about them, even in that 20, 30 seconds, that their English was very poor.
Okay.
And they are given award that best software developers over the last 5 years in PayPal. So I told them, let's chat after the function during tea time. So the two of them came. In fact, there was one more. 3 of them came, started talking to me. Became very clear that their English was very poor. I asked them, how come? They said they come from a village in Tamil Nadu. They did their schooling in the village, they did the college in a district college, and they never had studied English. Everything was done in Tamil.
Amen.
So I asked them, that was that a challenge because you are going to do write software? He says, precisely. Everybody told us you can't do software because you don't know English. And in the beginning, it was difficult when we came in, even got the job in PayPal, whether we will be able to perform. But over time, we did very well. And we today recognize that English has nothing to do with software. Then they sort of said, so I started chatting with them that I myself come from a background where I knew Hindi and not English and had a tough time in the beginning. So while chatting to them, they said, sir, there are many, many people like us who are probably will be a very good software professionals, but they are discouraged by saying that their English is not good enough.
Yeah.
So, they also told me that they were a little bored of the work that they were doing. And they would like to set up an NGO to help those with vernacular background to be able to become good software professionals. I told them, come over on the weekend to my home. And they landed. I remember 4 or 5 hours of conversation with them. I saw they were very serious, they were committed. The change that I pushed, that instead of an NGO, set up a company. They were a little scared because they knew nothing about it. But they took up the challenge. They were my incubators. And we gradually went. First few years was extremely tough. I remember they tell a story about there was one college that they were going to go to try to get a order from the college to train their students. And it was, they said, a make and break. If we didn't get that, we won't be able to proceed with the company. Of course, they had made reasonable amount of money, so the first couple of years they could survive without any money. But still, they were spending money and this was becoming a problem. For quite some time, they had no idea what to do. And they were even discussing with me. Then they decided not to approach the college to train. They decided to go to the college as recruiters. And they, not only themselves, they got several other startups that we are doing and said, we are going to go there for recruitment. Now, if you go to a college for recruitment, their PRO treat you very differently. You are a car is sent for you. You are given a meal, this, that, and all that. They went, they interviewed, and they spent a whole day. And in the end said that none of your students are good enough for us. We will not be able to recruit. None of the companies will recruit. They had gone with 6 companies and not a single recruitment. And now the person who is in charge is very worried. He sort of says, sir, what do we do for our students so that they can be recruited? He says, well, they're basically not ready for the software. They're not. But you want to, training can be done. He says, sure, sir, what training can be done? Say, here is a training that we can provide you. And they need to, they don't know English, but doesn't matter. They can do the training. And they got their first contract. Then they would train them. And they recruited several of them. I think that changed. So what I'm pointing out is that here, if you see that it is not, they have to learn. And they learned how to sell themselves after multiple failures. And they were saying that this was more or less the last college that they were going to go. Otherwise, they were going to close down the company. That's the way.
And mostly, sir, what you have said so far is that you push them back, they come to you. But in this case, you're saying you pick them up, saying you have to do this in form of a company and you make a
We
startup.
have had tough
So you-
times, many times. I mean, this is what I told you is after 2 years after they started the company. In between, there were a lot of pluses and minuses, but to some extent, they were different. They didn't come to me at 22. They came to me when they were 27, 28. They already had 5
Right.
years experience. They were slightly different. The
What is this
difference
difference?
that they
How are
were already disciplined. They knew
Okay.
that they have to make money. They knew
okay?
what kind of training. They knew exactly the problem. They knew that a lot of youngsters who have been brought up with only vernacular background, Tamil background, did not know English. And when software is taught to them in English, it doesn't help them. So they were teaching in English. So they knew of the problem. They knew. So it was somewhat different. And they also had much more discipline. And the primary work that you had to do with them is nurture them to prepare in what kind of training, how do you do that, and how fast can you do them, how do you get them ready for recruitment. So it was somewhat a different experience.
But at 27, 28, probably you have a family, you have been in a
I
job, you are
think
used
2
to
of
the
them were
monthly
married,
salary.
and none of them had children still, and they've done very well in PayPal. They had saved reasonable amount of money, so for 2 years they could survive without money. But we did not give them
Because
money.
that risk is
That's the important thing.
okay.
Easy money hurts was still applicable to them. But they learned all
Okay,
this.
okay.
They had to get orders. They had to sell themselves. We gave them here and there some opportunities where they could train. And they had done well. And they were learning continuously. There was a little bit when they didn't do well, they were pulled up. But
Okay.
they were far more mature. And they had come determined to really make a difference to the lives of people. And the company since then has flourished. And I think they had a 500 crore rupees valuation when we exited. We invested, I think, some 5,500 rupees in the company. And we
Yeah.
exited at, we were given 4.2 crore rupees.
Okay. So although they would have had that risk involved, but they had a financial bed to sort of
We
rely on
do
for a couple
not
of years.
provide them easy money. They have to somehow, they lived with very, very meager money. That's it.
No, earlier you said, students or youngsters who have family obligations,
there we don't
if their
even
family
touch them.
situation is not good, then
These people, both of the people who were married, both of them were working in the company.
both of them were co-founders. Yeah, that's
Still,
why
they
it
didn't
worked.
have children. So, and
Mhm.
they didn't have to, they had already earned enough money. So that helped.
Mhm.
That this was different.
Okay. Right. So we're talking about people. Your connect with the incubators, your connect with the entrepreneurs, and we have two with us now. Tell us what you remember of their story.
They
Why
should
have you
tell
been pushing
them, how
them to
did they
learn
get to
driving?
know?
One story which we came in with. So we are an HR company, right? So we are coming in and we are meeting him for the first time.
Mhm.
And we were doing recruitment, a little bit of recruitment, and we were trying to get into payroll and compliances.
Mhm.
So we said we are doing payroll.
Okay.
So he is like outrightly, what are you doing payroll? That is a finance function. That is not even HR. So the first day we came in, we went broken thinking that our idea of HR, he completely, I think, rescaped our understanding of what HR is. Like what we had in our head to where we are right now is a complete transformation about HR. Like till then, we were more process oriented. We had a lot of ideas though. We always had a lot of ideas to bring change and other things. But we had the idea that we were more into process. But he said that it is more into, productivity, a lot of other things, which, motivation. How do you motivate somebody? What are the motivational factors? Like he brought a lot of abstract ideas, which completely changed the way that we were looking at HR.
Okay.
Ever since, I think...
every meeting with him has been pushing us to do much more than what we have imagined about what we could do. From maybe when we were 10, we started thinking about business and starting businesses. But I think Prof was the first person to put the idea of commercialization and about, we were our services were priced very lean when we started out. I don't know, coming from a background like us, I think we had a very difficult time to price our services little more about it. We always thought the pricing was very lean and we were proud of it actually. So Prof, I think, has got the idea of pricing it right. And I think there are very few academically oriented people who can also think of commercialization and bring a very good balance about it, about doing some sensible work to the society and commercializing also along with it. That is the motive of the business. So I think that he has taught us in a way that we now think of every service adding value to the society as well as making it business sense also to us. So I think that's a big lesson we have learned from him.
So one other thing about them as well as anybody else. See, I had told you that we are very tough with them. I also told you they are our children. So we also love them.
Yeah, that's very true.
I think that is the key. You really nurture. Even on a personal basis, you get to know every aspect of the person. You understand, you are looking at a long term, them becoming good entrepreneurs. Wherever there is a weakness in a person, we try to somehow overcome that gap. So I remember last time I met them, I said that, well, 3 sisters, 3 of you, young women, very smart, very good, but none of you know driving. If you have a car, but if a driver comes, you are able to use that. Otherwise, you get stuck and talk about remote working. You just have not built in that much flexibility in your life. So, in terms of, all 3 of them were married, they had children. So I had to go through, again, they were experienced. I had to go through their personal lives. Where are the bottlenecks that will not enable them to become a successful entrepreneur? All that is a part of nurturing. You identify with the incubatee. You identify fully with their circumstances and try to figure out what will stop them and help them overcoming those hurdles.
I'm seeing a very different side of you now. At one point, you said this person should not have any obligation, nothing. Now you have 3 people, they're married, they have kids, they have families, right? Now personal responsibilities, not financial, but that's a lot of personal responsibility. And you still choose to
There's
incubate
a big
them.
difference. Again, when I was talking to you, when they come to you 22, starry-eyed and all that, and you are doing a pushback, you are actually starting them.
Okay.
They came to me where they were already in business for a couple of years.
Okay.
Big difference. They had already learned many of the things that otherwise I would have had. They dared. They were strong women. I was very proud that they, on their own, put themselves in spite. They had family, they had children, and they figured out how to become successful entrepreneurs. I didn't have to teach them. You know what they did? Very simple thing. All 3 of them moved into same building, independent house. Their parents were also, there were only 3 daughters. The parents were old. They knew that they had to take care of the parents. That was their obligation. Parents also moved in the same building, 4 different flats, independent. And yet now they can support each other, can take care of parents, and yet have enough free time for their enterprise. I think they had figured out a lot of things. And I noticed that. In fact, that was the reason I agreed to support them. They're already at a stage. And now what I really needed to do was help them with their business. They were doing things but not succeeding. But they had taken care of her personal circumstances very well. And it is only in their personal circumstances when they told me about their father not being well, this, that. And their dependence on whether driver is coming, not coming. I said, what nonsense. So since they have a very close personal rapport also with me, by the way, most incubators of mine have very close personal rapport with me, my wife, and that's the kind of thing. Very often we meet at my home. So they have that. And I had to put the condition that you want me to keep nurturing you, you need to learn. They initially were scared. They said they won't learn.
Yeah.
And now they have.
Correct. He also helped us to build the personal efficiency in terms of what was he made us analyze a lot about the strengths that we
And
had,
he also
the
said
weaknesses
that
that we had.
the
I think-
personal efficiency building is very important for us to be successful in the business as well.
Absolutely.
So he did not, it is not two different things. You're the same person. You're operating in different spheres. You have different things to do, but it is the same person. So if your personal efficiency is at its best, is going to reflect in your home, it's going to reflect in your office, it's going to
Absolutely.
reflect everywhere. So he has this harmonious development that he focuses. It is not like one aspect. He has got a very different approach to nurturing. His approach to nurturing is we met so many mentors, so many of them in our lives. But when Prof met us, it was completely different because his approach to mending is not different from enterprise to home. It is all the same person. So there is a growth that is happening on all aspects. It is not on one aspect. It's not your business alone is growing. Your personal relationships are getting better. You're growing as a person.
Harmonious
So-
growth.
Your important thing is only one thing. They have to be successful. That's the only motive that I have. Only motive that incubator has to have. That their children have to succeed. What they will do, what direction is their decision. Your job is to help them. The other important thing is, I keep telling them, success and failure is not mine, it's yours.
Okay.
I'm only nurturing you. I'm there behind you. I'm not. You take the decisions. Your decisions. At a personal level, yes, I can put a condition, but not in your business. Business, your decisions are yours. I can advise you, but be totally detached. Don't feel obligated to follow my advice. In fact, most businesses which have succeeded have very often not followed my advice. And when they don't follow my advice, if they succeed, it is great. I realize that I have learned. When they fail, I don't go back to them and tell them that I told you so. Let them learn from their failures. Finally, everyone has to learn from their failures and their successes. At any point, I give my sincere advice. So the important thing is, one has to totally identify with them.
The entrepreneur is more important than the enterprise, right? You have to focus on the person.
It kind of melts. It's kind of, you are part of them.
Yeah.
You're
You are the enterprise.
You are part of them. That's the key thing. And yet, they are the drivers. You are not the driver. That's
So you have, I see the way you speak about working with your incubators. You have mixed your personal space with your workspace. How do you do that? They can come to your house, they can eat with you.
Very difficult, actually.
Did I do that when I was doing? So there are two things that I've tried to do in my life. There are three things. First, as a teacher. Teacher, essentially, I have learned from this Guru Shishya.
Okay.
So in Guru Shishya, Shishya lives with you.
Mm-hmm.
That whole parampara of India. They are
Yeah.
part of you. They are part of a family. We could never distinguish them.
Right.
So that was one set of people. So at a very early stage, when I was just a Guru Shishya, that time also, these youngsters used to come to my home, eat with us. We used to go out, have fun together. That was stage number one. Stage number two is where we try to do very many technology development. For example, we had decided I didn't get a telephone for 8 years at my home, and I understood that the main reason is that the telephone capital investment in installing a telephone is so high that it does not make a business sense. And the only way we can make every Indian get a telephone is to reduce the cost of a capital investment required to install a telephone by a factor of 4, which was considered impossible. So we had taken up impossible challenge. Just like I talked about impossible challenge of traveling in the city in 20 minutes, we had taken up impossible challenge. That's the time I had a large number of employees. And they used to come to my home. They used to be part of us. We were trying to do an impossible mission. When you are trying to do an impossible mission, you again don't separate yourself with the rest. They are part of you.
Right.
And when you do startup and nurturing, it is their goal. They are the one who are doing it, but you are becoming part of them. That's the way you do it. I think entrepreneurship is a continuation from Guru Shishya to doing the impossible, which I continue to pursue in ITEL a lot, and to growing, to nurturing the startups. They are same concept. You don't separate them.
You don't separate them. Okay. So I have some questions from the students. Because I'm working with students, there are questions and
Sure.
I have the obligation to answer them, right?
You have obligation to ask them. Answer or not is mine.
Yeah. But let me also, bring them in. You also wanted to ask questions, right? So why don't you fire away your
have a separate
questions?
session altogether for it.
But go
Different
ahead.
questions?
They may
Okay.
just like continue.
Okay. And so here are some questions from the students in absolutely raw format, whichever
Doesn't matter.
right?
Go ahead.
So question number 1, how can a student build a startup who has zero capital?
First, they need to build, as I told you. And I've given you a Lego example.
Right.
You need to learn to build. With whatever things that is available. Capital is not important. You need to learn to build with whatever little that you have. That, if you know how to build, that's a step number 1.
Okay.
After that, your learning has to be more other things, like I told you, what is a market? What does a market want? What product can you build? What's the cost of building a product? Will the product have margin? How do you put a team together? How do you keep the team together with very little money? How do you manage balance sheet, P&L, receivable, payable, cash flow?
Right.
There is so many things to learn. You need to do that. None of them involve too much of capital.
Okay.
As you do things, as you start building, as you start doing things, you can raise capital. Some seed capital and then venture capital. But if you're not done all of this and you want to raise, you say, I want a capital. Well, you have not learned to be an entrepreneur. You have not learned that.
Right.
Who will bet on you? Why will they bet on you?
Right. So capital is not important.
Well, capital is important. It will come in the right time.
At the right
When
time.
you have built yourself, prepared yourself to be an entrepreneur, a startup, and if you are true to it, you can keep learning from your mistake, learn from your failure, fail, get up. Show me that you can get up after failure. Those are important.
Important. How do they? So another question from the students: how do I develop this mindset where I fall and I stand up again? How do I do that at the personal level?
Well, I think most people, unless they are in upper middle class, would have failed in their life at times, sometime or other. And they would have figured out how to speak.
Okay.
It's not something that would have happened. You need to reflect upon it and figure out what you did.
Yeah. Okay, so it is
At
embedded.
times, everything looks hopeless, and that's a time you come out. And every person who has succeeded has failed
Has failed.
multiple times before they have succeeded. They can tell you about their tough stories. Everyone has tough stories. And in life, much before they started this entrepreneurship journey, and also as entrepreneurs. So if we talk about your failure, you fail in exam. That's a failure. You fail in being truthful on something. You fail your parents, you fail your sibling, you fail your friends. All these are failures.
Okay.
And how did you overcome? You have a good friend and you make a mistake. It is a failure of yours. How do you re-establish that connection? All that is learning.
Okay. Let me ask you the next question. As a student, I'm really scared as to how will I build a large company. I want to start up, but a big company, how will I do it?
You start building a company, you start small, starts learning from that, succeeding, company will grow over time. Don't have a formula. You cannot have a formula. Do not think of a formula and do not even think of that large. You think that you are doing this because you believe you can do things. And this is your mission in your life. This is your whole, everything is aligned. You have to align yourself to it. I have a very thing that I try to do. When I was doing my wireless in local loop, which we used to consider impossible.
Right.
Or when I take up that problem of floods, we'll overcome the waterlogging. I have only a film dialogue which captures this. जब किसी चीज को शिद्दत से चाहो तो सारी कायनात तुमको उससे मिलाने की साजिश में लग जाती है.
Shahrukh Khan's dad.
And it has to be inside and you have to want it to do this. And it is your passion.
That's very true.
Okay, next question. Why do
They have done this. It is not that they've not had setbacks. They have had many setbacks. But they have just जब किसी चीज को शिद्दत से, when you have that aim, it keeps happening.
Next question. Next question is, I want to build a startup but don't know where to start.
Well, learn to build things. Learn to enjoy. Important thing in the Lego model that you enjoy. When you build things you enjoy, you will find people along with you. That's the best time to form a team also. Normally, if more than one person start together, hand in hand, work together, it becomes much easier. Rest you'll figure out.
Okay.
You need to take up something and you need to fail. You need to fail, I'm saying.
Yeah.
You need to fail. Because from that failure, you learn how to pick up the next thing better.
Fail first.
Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
The point is, at 22-year-old, even if you fail, but if you have tried sincerely and learned from every mistake, 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, if you decide to exit this, you are a very valuable person, because that kind of experience not many people have.
That's right. Next. How do I find a team as dedicated as me?
I think a very, very bad question.
Okay.
You believe you are highly dedicated, others are not. I think that itself has a serious flaw. You are dedicated only when you are inspired. The other person, is as inspired, so there is inspiration that matters. But the whole thing that I am more dedicated, she is not, will only hurt you.
Let me alter the question. Basically, they're saying, how do I find a team? How do I form a team? Who can be my co-founder? Where do I look?
Very, very tough question. No easy answer. Because you find a team on your way, on the journey, not by sitting and think that you will find a partner. Only as you move on and do things, you'll find somebody who starts working with you, and you start getting. These three people, the three sisters, came together. I don't know when they came together, when they started. They knew each other, but some point of time, they kind of joined hands. Trust is very important. You not only trust, you also don't judge. Because everybody goes through ups and downs. You let them, you keep inspiring each other. Don't judge them, your partner.
You have to inspire
Inspire them.
your team.
If they have shortcoming, let them overcome the shortcoming. You help them overcome the shortcoming. They will help you overcome your shortcoming. If you believe that you are the strength and they are the weakness, there is no partnership. You have to understand that each of them have their own strengths. And each of them will bring their own way of doing things.
Okay, next. I want to start up, but my parents are saying take up a job.
You have to understand why are they doing that. Go back to that obligation. Is there an obligation? Do the parents need you to get regular money? Do you need to get regular money? Do you have a loan that you need to pay? In that case, if parents are only pointing that out to you, it is true. If, on the other hand, there are no real obligation, you need to convince your parents that your desire is to go that way, and you want to do that and allow you to do that. You say you have no obligation right now. You want to take risk, and that risk will change. I think your parents will understand.
There's another perspective I want to bring into this question, which is the social value of an entrepreneur. We have to marry you off tomorrow.
Yeah, but I'm telling you that entrepreneur, successful or failure, is far more valuable. 5 years down the line, whether you have succeeded or you have failed, you are far more valuable. Yes, the other person may be earning 20 lakhs rupees at the end of 5 years. And you'll suddenly find that with all your experience at the end of 5 years, you have earned nothing. And you are earning 40 lakhs. Because those who will hire you will also recognize your experience. If you are truthful and you recognize, you understand your failure, accept where you need to analyze and understand that.
Next question. My friends are going after jobs. There are good packages, and I'm going into entrepreneurship direction. I continuously compare myself with them.
Then go and take the job. If it is not in you, then take up a job. If you are comparing yourself, go and take up a job.
Okay. How do incubation centers help? How will incubation center help me?
Well, incubation center is supposed to nurture you. A good incubation center is supposed to nurture you. Nurturing, when you nurture a child, what is the incubator? Even the name incubator is that there is almost totally newborn child, and you are trying to get them grow. Incubator is supposed to play that role. A good incubator plays that role, and they will play that. If it is a poor incubator, you can keep asking what will they give you and it has no meaning. Good incubator will help you become successful. Everything that they will do that you require. But strengthen you. Bring your strength out. They are not going to replace. They will not be strength for you. they will bring your strength out.
Your strength out. Very interesting. How do I find the right mentor?
You will find in due course. As long as, I think, again, a good incubator is supposed to help you find it, and you'll find in a due course. Yes, mentor makes a huge difference. And you have to just go on till you find a right mentor. There's no formula for finding a right mentor.
How do I bounce back from the failures?
Well, have you bounced back from your failures in the past? Figure out how you did. And if you have not bounced back from your failure in the past, if you have had no failures in life, what kind of life have you lived? I don't know. It may be highly protected life. Somebody else is ensuring your success. Nobody would only do success. So everybody would have failed. And if you have not bounced back that from a failure, well, it's a weakness.
Okay.
And you will sooner or later fail in your life. Let me tell you. Even if you have come with a very highly protected family, tomorrow you will fail in your life. Fail in your personal life, fail in a professional life. You need to learn.
Okay. So those were some questions from the students. A couple of other questions that I had, I was reflecting while you were speaking. It's all about leading people. When you leading people, when you're working with incubators, you're inspiring them, you're telling them what could be possible directions in which you go. They see you.
I think I'm not sorry. That's not what we do. We bring their best.
Mm-hmm.
It is their strength that we ujagar karte hai. That's a term that you basically get them to go. You are not leading them.
You're enabling them. Okay.
You will do the right thing here, there. As I told you earlier, Sam, Dam, Dan, Ved. But it is their strength. The win takes place because of their strength, not because of what you did. You did your dharma to enable them.
Okay. Every other person today is calling themselves a startup mentor.
So,
how, okay. On the one side, it's good that there are people who want to become mentors. How can they become the real mentors? How do they enable, facilitate, one message for them?
For those who want to be mentors, well, I think like a startup, they are also have to see whether they are really enabling people. And they have to keep learning from that. One thing, mentor should be very clear. They don't take decisions. They only enable or advise people. They don't take decisions.
Right.
The true mentors are one who can identify, who can put themselves in their shoes, in the shoes of incubated company, in their shoes, and really understand and enable them. Enabling is the role, not either lecturing or telling them what to do. That's not what an incubator is. So if you really have that in you and you are willing to work hard for that, you can be a good mentor.
Great. Now we are coming to the final section of the conversation where I would request you to give, very crisp messages to a bunch of people. First of all, of course, students. What is your one key message to the students, aspiring entrepreneurs? A lot of students want to become entrepreneurs. We interview people for MBA program, for other programs. Every second person is my goal is to become an entrepreneur ultimately. What is your one message for them? Whatever sphere.
I don't want to give one message. I will tell you a little story.
Okay. Better than a message.
It is probably 2003 2003 or 4, I don't remember exactly, maybe around that, maybe 2002 or something like that. I am flying from Delhi to Chennai. I am sitting on a seat, and there are two people sitting next to me. And suddenly I see a young woman, kid, 17-year-old, coming, talking to my neighbor, something. I don't hear what it is. And after some time, I see he gets up and she comes and sits down. I'm curious, why has she come? I thought maybe his daughter or something like that. So I, polite conversation, hello, so where do you live? I said, Delhi. What are you going to Chennai for? Studies. You are joining a college? Yes. Which college? Your college. So I asked, do you know me? Are you not Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala? I said, yes. How do you know me? I've read about you. And then she tells me that she didn't recognize me, but she heard some Jhunjhunwala, and then she was curious and found out that I was Ashok Jhunjhunwala and came and sat next to me.
Okay.
So you're joining my college? You are a Delhi person? I said, yes. Say, why are you joining my college? Says, because of you. So you hardly know me. But read about you, and I was inspired about you, and I'm joining your department.
Okay.
So now the conversation becomes more interesting. She's going to be our student. So I started, and she's a Punjabi girl.
Okay.
And I start talking to her about what she has learned, what does she want to do. Long flight, remember having a little bit of something to eat, and we chatted. I remember in the end, I also told her that if you're coming there, I will take you. You are Clark. I'll take you to IIT. You want to go to the hostel, I'll drop you and all that. And I'm willing to help you in whatever manner. I've talked to her. I told her probably a few things. I do become her kind of advisee. She like a guardian. And she used to come home also quite often. She did studies and all that. After, as she was about to finish, she one day come and say she has got admission in IIM Ahmedabad. She is going there. Fine, I blessed her and all that, and she went there. Then I remember 3 years later, she calls me and says that my marriage is there. You must come in Delhi. And it was not easy, but that evening I was going to be there. So I actually land there few hours before her marriage, meet her, fly back to Chennai. And after that, I didn't hear from her. And few years down the line, I hear suddenly that she has become a very successful entrepreneur. And Sugar Cosmetics, she's very well known. And suddenly, in one interview of hers, she tells that how she became entrepreneur. He says, because of one conversation that I've had on a flight when I flew to join IIT Madras. And I was sitting next to, so she relates this story, sitting next to him. And he questioned me for about an hour, 15 minutes, various strength, what you have, and all that. And apparently he told me that you are very good, but you are a very all-round personality and you are very good, but you are unlikely to become a top technologist. Apparently I said that, I don't remember. Top technologist. But you should think of becoming an entrepreneur. you will be a very good intern.
Okay.
I don't remember the conversation, but she remembered it and she said that. And she said she did not know the word entrepreneur. When she went back to the hostel, she looked at the dictionary of the meaning of entrepreneur. And then, of course, she interacted with me. She saw what I was doing. So she kept learning from there. In her mind, it was fixated that she will become an entrepreneur. And she also told me when I was going to I looked disappointed that another youngster who lost to engineering, but my mind was on to become an entrepreneur. I graduated. I remember him coming to my marriage and all that. But for me, that was important. And I took up a job, the first possible opportunity. I dropped it and became an entrepreneur. And I learned silently from him so much and from what he has done. And I am today a successful entrepreneur because of Professor Ashok Jhunjhunwala. So I'm telling you this story because even in an informal interaction where I was talking to a 17-year-old kid and probably talked to her a few more times, which I don't remember because she used to come home quite a few times, had dinner with me. But I somehow helped her become an entrepreneur. What I did, I don't remember.
You enabled, you unlocked, you made them
So,
realize.
what is the message? If you have guts in you, you know how to get up after failure. If you're not limited by immediate obligation, go for it. There is nothing more interesting than this career opportunity. There is nowhere you learn as much as you will learn as entrepreneur. There is nowhere you will feel more empowered than in this. But you should be prepared to fail, fall, and get up and try again. It will be much more fulfilling life than anything else.
Nice.
Otherwise, you'll always be frustrated. Your boss, but for your boss, you would have become somebody.
You are
Yeah, they mostly, the other reason after the first reason, which is I want to become rich, the second reason is I want to be my own boss.
the freedom and
Okay, yeah. Okay, another message for the faculty.
Again, when I started this IIT Madras Research Park, I'd done a very rough survey amongst faculty members. 7% of our IIT Madras faculty ever worked with the industry. 2020, we did that survey again. 50% of the faculty members were working with industry.
Okay.
Today, we have 100 faculty members who are founders of startup.
Wow.
At IIT Madras. We have at least 10 or 15 people who have become crorepati. Some of them 10 crores and some of them 100 crores. You can never however good a researcher you are. There are people who were absolutely top publishers, have never built anything to commercialization. Today are doing this. And it transforms you, it transforms your science work, it transforms your teaching, because suddenly your R&D becomes not for publication, but but actually making a difference to the society. Nothing more fulfilling than that career. Try it out. Nothing to lose.
One message.
Particularly if you are a IIT faculty. Nothing.
Okay. One message for the incubation centers.
I thought I spoke for hours about incubation
one crisp
center.
message. Yes, you did.
To nurture. You need to nurture, and you have to identify with every entrepreneur, their pains, and yet they are your children. So you can't just identify with the pains. You also need to guide them. You need to push them. You need to do whatever is required to make them successful. If they are successful, you have done your job. They are not successful, you have failed in your job.
One message for the government.
Happy that you are providing funds to the incubator. But focus on how they become successful in just creating number of incubators, startups is not you're pushing them to, in fact, just put numbers without substance. You need successful deep tech startup. Figure the process out and push the place where you are putting in money for the incubator to really become true deep tech incubator.
Final one, a message for universities.
Again, a story. 1992. I had joined IIT Madras in 1981 and was starting to work with industry and starting to incubate companies and things like that. There was a professor. I came from North India. There were very few people who came from North India and joined IIT Madras Electrical Engineering Department, kind of little outsider and all that. In that whole process, there was a young senior professor who I used to look up like anything. One day he comes to my office. He used to always back me up and support me and all that. One day he comes to my office. He says, I want to talk to you because I think you are doing something wrong.
Okay.
Taken aback, I said, sure, sir. Like to. Please tell me. He said, IIT or all other educational institutes, is a place where we worship Saraswati. And suddenly you are bringing Lakshmi in it. And Lakshmi and Saraswati does not get along well together.
Okay, that's very interesting.
You'll hurt this place. I was taken aback. I had no answer. I said, sir, I need to get back to you. I thought about it deeply for a few days. Went back to him and told him, sir, I disagree with you. This is a myth that Saraswati and Lakshmi do not get along well together. Role of Saraswati, the knowledge, is to help build wealth for the society. And Lakshmi helps build wealth for the society. It's not necessarily wealth for the individual, but wealth for the society. All along, Lakshmi and Saraswati have worked together to build knowledge and convert knowledge to wealth. Somewhere, this wrong notion came in India that Saraswati and Lakshmi does not get along well. And as a result, we have hurt the educational institutes in the country. We have, I've been to US universities, I was a student there, been to European. They are able to work with industry. They do create value. The knowledge is used to create value and wealth. We somehow have got hung up that there is something called knowledge and Saraswati and Lakshmi does not get along. I think we're wrong, and I do want to change IITs and educational institutes in the country. I am going to therefore pursue what I am doing. And yes, it will be a matter of time before you will really realize that Lakshmi and Saraswati does work together.
So one last thing, please.
I thought your last thing is over.
No, I can't let you run away. No.
That's very true, what you said. Even during our childhood, I think always Saraswati is supposed to be worshipped, and it's great to be into academics, into studying well. Everything is appreciated. But I don't think praying for Mahalakshmi or wealth at home is very well
Instantly they will
responded.
say,
Don't look out for materialistic.
Knowledge.
Like, don't think about building wealth. That is something.
You don't necessarily look for yourself,
Correct.
but wealth for the society. How will society grow without the
Well,
wealth?
Yeah.
All the material things society needs and comes from knowledge.
Yeah.
Nobody else earlier had thought about it. Farmers used all the knowledge to grow food, and food was provided to everybody. If it was not done, what use was it?
So I wanted to give a message, this initiative, the conversation we've had, we spoke on the phone and it was so difficult to talk to you. I said, sir, this is a survey. He said, I don't like surveys. I said, sir, this is a research project, student entrepreneur. No, I don't like this. Were you just pushing me back, or really you don't like surveys and you don't like international studies? And what do you think about this initiative now?
So I don't know about this initiative still. Surveys, I certainly feel that most of these surveys are very routine surveys, fulfilling, getting some. Those studies don't mean much. So my position is genuine.
Okay.
Second, I think India is very different. For example, as I told you, the 22-year Indian, fresh out of college, does not have any experience and have to go through this whole process. West is very different. I've taught in West. My students were very different there. They have their strength, they have their weaknesses. Very often, when we do this joint project, and particularly if the money is coming from some international sources, they start trying to dictate what is to be done. They think they know. I've seen that very often. Even when we were doing wireless and local loop, they thought they knew how to do this and they were trying to tell me. In every single thing they were trying to tell us. Today, there are some who are trying to tell us how to create entrepreneurship. And they know nothing about India. They don't know what does it take. And therefore, I'm very reluctant to do this.
Okay.
And today we have a lot to teach them. I have absolutely no problem in learning. I have absolutely no problem. I learned from them. I did my master's PhD. I've learned so much when I lived. I learned. I was a male chauvinist when I went to US. I came appreciating feminism. I couldn't even think of homosexuality when I went to US. I came back accepting that that's the way it is. I didn't understand environment movement and the importance of that. I learned when I was there. I learned the whole thing of racism there. And what does one have to do? I understood the colonialism and even a colonial mind and imperialism much better when I stayed there. And I also learned that we are as good as anyone else in the world. That I learned from there. So I have no problem learning from there. I don't want... Most of our relationship is still very colonial, traditional. They know we learn. Or we are at best going to give them data for them to analyze and then tell us.
Right.
Both of them are dead against.
Okay.
So I did not know you. I still don't know you. When you told me you are doing a very conventional approach. And I don't fill surveys. But most of these surveys are also... See, whereas if you really ask, as any entrepreneur, you have to understand market. You have to really have a deep understanding of the market, not these surveys. The surveys are very question-answer, are very, very
So these conversations...
In fact, if you look at it, even the questions that you asked, I didn't give these short answers. I refused to. I gave proper answers. I have given proper answers.
Right. So how do you think these conversations that we're having, because survey alone will not work, that's why I'm having the conversations.
Doing this conversation, I have to still see results. I have to also see what you have done with others, because this is not one person's.
Yeah.
You are going to interview many. You
Right.
have to see the results. I don't know. But since you persisted, I gave you the opportunity and you're willing to come here.
Yeah.
I spent 2 hours. And I spoke from my heart. I haven't spoken any thought out.
Right.
And I happened to just see
Yeah.
them and I brought them here.
No,
Thank
that's
you.
very nice. No, sir. Yeah. No, this is what we're trying to do, sir. We're just trying to have conversations so that students can listen to you. Otherwise, you're only accessible to people who are here or people, who are persistent
There is a
enough.
lot of things that I have about me and what I have spoken on YouTube. I'll tell you, in YouTube, there will be a Jhunjhunwala retirement video.
I saw that, sir.
And I think I'll request people who are interested to watch that. The reason is, that was a conversation that I had in my department. Only my department faculty was there.
Yeah.
And when I was about to retire, they asked me to speak. And I spoke my heart out, not knowing that somebody was filming.
Okay.
And
Became viral.
it was a longish, but 45 an hour. And that's the reason probably so many people have viewed it since then.
Actually, that was the video which gave me confidence that I can talk to you about student and entrepreneurship. Otherwise, I was like, but you spoke so much about, your love for students. And you've said one more thing. You've learned so much from your students. Your students have taught you.
That's always so. I learned so many things from my entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Every day I learn. And you learn from your kids. As you
Right.
grow old, how else will you? You learn from your juniors. That's right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.